Hey guys, it is 7:02. So most of you guys are here and a few of you will be joining us by record. So we are going to continue recording today, just at least the first portion. So we have a chance to catch everybody up who were not able to make it. So I will end our screen share. That's one of my favorite quotes there. It's by Muhammad Ali and awesome. Wow, lots of people here. Awesome. So welcome to our first annual Boxing Ontario All Committee meeting. We haven't seen many of you since Brampton Cup in February, or at least I haven't. I know you guys have been meeting outside of this meeting here. Many clubs, including my own, are on lockdown right now, which is Toronto and Peel right now. Others are struggling to survive, and some have had to permanently close their doors, unfortunately. Though our world is dealing with one of the biggest challenges that we've ever had to face in our lifetime, at least our lifetime, boxing as a whole is thriving. So boxing is playing every day on public broadcasts, and right here in Ontario, thanks to the incredible work that all of you guys have been doing throughout the pandemic, Boxing Ontario is ready to hit the ground running for the new year, which is why we're meeting today. All of you, our committees, have been busy pulling their membership together through meetups and educating the athletes, coaches, and officials through courses, and keeping focused on our ultimate goal of returning to boxing, hopefully sooner than later. If you're joining us here today, I guess right now you guys will have an opportunity to meet everybody at the end, but we're also joined right now by myself. I'm the president of Boxing Ontario, Jennifer Huggins, Mike Williamson, who's a vice president of Boxing Ontario, Fred Tenike, secretary, Sid Vanderpool, who is the director at large, and Lee Smith, who's also director at large and also part of the Female Development Committee. Since we took on these roles just over a year ago, there's been a lot of changes and growth. And at the forefront of that, and this is probably, I can't even remember when he started, but I'll get you to unmute yourself, Eric, so you can kind of take over in a second. But Eric Espinola has been with us now for, how long has it been, Eric?
My first year was 2012.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I was going to say he hasn't been here that long, but you're right. Sorry, 2012. He's been with us for a very long time, but very recently, it seems like the days are going so quickly. When did you join us as the executive director?
We're closing in on 3 months.
Wow.
Already.
So
yeah.
3 months seems like a lifetime because he's accomplished so much. I am really excited to actually reintroduce him to everybody so he can give you an update on what he's been up to at the office and what we're here to meet about today. I'm going to pass it over to you right now.
Great. Thank you, Jen. And again, thank you everyone for taking their time today to be on this call. I really just wanted to, before I get into introducing Matt and discussing operational plan, I wanted to give you a quick overview on the office and how things are going. Released in the middle of October, we switched our registration to online using Tracky. Currently, we have 32 clubs, or nearing, 35 clubs registered for 2021. And I think a great role in that is the discounted club registration fee that we recently announced. And to speak more about that fee and how we were able to reduce it at such a rate is we received top-up funding from the Ontario government. So it was an additional 50% on top of our base funding. To get into the specifics, usually our base funding is $150,000 a year from the Ontario government. So we received just shy of 50% of that additionally. So we're using those funds to offset the lost revenue by reducing the club registration fee. And then currently on Tracky, we've received over 950 recreation members, which is already more than 50% of our 2020 total. And, of course, in the last year or so, I guess there was a switch in where people had to register recreation members. And of course, for them to be, for our gyms to be operating and everyone to be insured. So this is a great sign. And I think moving to online, it's an accessible platform for people to register. So we already see it in the numbers for 2021. The other, groups, competitors are very low. Coaching is a bit low as well, but I think as we go into late December and early January, I think those numbers will pick up. But a big increase in our rec members so far. So I discussed about the top-up fund as well. Moving forward in January, we'll be adding an intern to our team from Humber College. That individual will be the club development coordinator or via an internship. So, and that will tie into what Matt will present in terms of our operational plan and what we're trying to achieve. And now, I guess, for the moment of truth, I'm looking forward to doing this. Is a former colleague of mine at Ontario Soccer. We worked together for a year and a couple months, and we worked closely together on the Ontario Player Development League, which is the, I guess, high performance standardized league for Ontario Soccer. But before that, Matt has a wealth of experience in sport. He worked at the Youth Commonwealth Games in the Bahamas, 2018 Gold Coast Commonwealth Games in Australia. As well, he was a district administrator for the Sudbury Regional Soccer Association. And then, of course, has a year experience at Ontario Soccer, where I was privileged to work with him. So like I mentioned in my email, I know I'm confident, and it's been 3 weeks since Matt joined. And I should mention that how this opportunity came about was Boxing Ontario received funding from Jumpstart. It was the Sport Relief Fund, and we were successful in receiving $10,000 that we could use in creating a position. And through that time, I had reached out to Matt, and I discussed to him, my vision and where the gaps were that I felt at the time. Again, I was only on board for 2 months prior to getting approved, but I, understood that we had the committee structure in place. However, I just felt like there was a gap in how to bring everyone together, how to all, achieve the common goal of bettering Boxing Ontario and athletes and coaches and officials. So I discussed it with him and the opportunity. We were successful in the funding. We were able to bring Matt on a 4-month full-time contract. And without further ado, in that short time, we've worked, it's surpassed my expectations of where we are in our operational plan. And I know after Matt goes through the presentation, you'll feel the same. So I'll give it to the floor to Matt now. And welcome to the team, Matt Spina.
Thank you very much, Eric. Hello, everyone. As Eric mentioned, we've been discussing his vision for a little while here, and I appreciate the very flavorful introduction and comments about my past work history. It was quite diversified, so I had an opportunity to work in several different areas, both in multi-sport and in a direct capacity with soccer. But all that to say that it was very focused in policy and process driven production. So from the back end, it was very much a program development approach. So when Eric reached out, we started discussing his vision and his goals, and it was right in line with items that I had worked on before. So I guess without keeping too much of your time here, I'll just jump right in. I'm going to be sharing my screen just for a short presentation, just to update you on some of the things that we've been pulling together in terms of a framework and a bit of a goal/direction for the course of 2021, and then obviously hopefully further into the future. So let me just share my screen. Can you guys just let me know when you can see? Yeah, thumbs up, everyone. We're good. All right, good stuff. So starting off, Eric mentioned that we had touched on revisiting the operational plan and perhaps a new approach to the method in which this was prepared and then obviously ultimately delivered as well. So just a few key considerations that we've been focusing on mainly has been starting with annual planning. So we're looking to shorten that timeline to a 1-year increment to make sure that we're achieving our goals within a set parameter. New format, nothing overly special, but it cleans up the presentation of it and allows us to see everything a little bit more clearly, so we can see at a glance exactly what we're working on and what our goals are for the upcoming year. And then lastly is embracing a new process, which is to really draw on our stakeholders, our membership, and you as the committees as well, because we want to drive the progress and the improvement of the organization, the governing body, as a result of what the membership is saying, right? Because you're only as good as worst critic out there, and we want to make sure we hear all voices, and we use that to better the services that we provide. So we'll jump into annual planning. So very high level stuff here. We want to make sure that our goals within the operational plan are SMART. And some of you may be familiar with the acronym, but goals essentially are the building blocks of success at the end of the day. So we want to stick to goals that are specific and strategic. We want to make sure they're measurable, tangible, attainable, realistic, and of course, most importantly, timely and something that we can track the progress of. With that said, it ties directly into our new operational plan format, and bits and pieces of this we'll cover, and you may be wondering, you know, how's that going to work? Well, we're going to cover it pretty much directly after. It's all a bit of a process here. Everything's tied together. So jumping into what we're looking at. So first, the nice thing about this new format is it's going to increase accountability. It's going to increase visibility across committees and across board members. And of course, it's going to bring constant tracking to our goals and objectives over the course of 2021 to start. And then the framework can be utilized down the line in the future. So just to show you a quick example of what we're looking at, I'll give you a brief overview of what the format is looking like. Those in the committee members, this may not be something you directly interact with, but it's important just to understand essentially how we've structured it. So I'm using branding and awareness because Rebecca was kind enough to provide the plan that Michael and herself had been working on. So we've just filled this in temporarily to show essentially how the categories are going to look. We want to stick to specific sections that are within the purview of that area. So brand development, organizational communications, and advertising and promotion. Identify the expected incomes and the outcomes, and the key initiatives, and then the major projects, of course, that would need to take place to then succeed in that outcome. Our metrics need to be defined and tangible. They need to be something we can physically say we have achieved this, and this is something we can show for it. So that is very important to us. So whether that's the development of a collection of brand templates, as mentioned here, that's something that we would want to clearly identify so that we can measure our success against that at the end of the year. And then we have an area for specific action items. This isn't necessarily for the smaller ticket things. It's more for, you know, overarching areas. And again, this will be very much something that the committee chair and myself and Eric will be communicating regularly on. And then we have a progress tracker where we can see if it's in progress, completed, or not started. The target timeline, our responsible party, and of course, what we all like to see is the date of completion. So just an example of what we're looking to do here is provide each committee chair with a template to this effect. We'll populate it with a bit of an example here so that you can see roughly how we're looking to populate the operational plan, and then that starts the discussion between Eric, myself, and the committee chair as a result of their entry. And then we work together to make sure that this is then populated into the master operational plan. So tying back to those three key points of accountability, visibility, and tracking. The accountability is that everyone can see. We can see exactly how we are tracking our progress. The visibility allows for committee chairs to see across teams to say, okay, listen, am I working on a project that perhaps is overlapping with another area? If so, how can we combine that, work together, and perhaps avoid a duplication of effort? So this gives us a bit of an opportunity to operate less in silos and more integrated in a team capacity. So we'll get into the exact process of how this will work shortly here. I'll just jump back to the presentation. So the next related area would be the stakeholder and committee driven process. So obviously we're all part of the machine. So it's good to make sure that all parts are working, because one piece falls apart, the rest of it can too. So with that said, this is a nice graphic that I want to give a quick shout out to Rebecca for putting this together. It's not showing yet, don't worry, this isn't it. This will just identify the process and how this feedback cycle is going to work, and how our communication is going to work between teams and individuals. So we'll start off with stakeholders, because we got to pick somewhere to start. And generally, it's good to pick our membership because they provide the feedback. From there, we jump into the committees. The feedback will then be provided to the committees. The method of collection we'll get into next. I'm going to explain how we're going to apply this process so that you can actually see this all come together. But this would go through the committee ideas. The committees would then discuss, as normal, the initiatives and projects underway. And then that would be then disseminated through the committee chair, who then works with their operational team tab, updating it accordingly for the beginning of the year. And we can make tweaks as we go, but that's what Eric and myself will be here for, to support and assist every step of the way, and to communicate that information back to the board to make sure that we're all working on the same page and towards the same end goals. We can then feed back to the committee ideas or kind of back into the pot. If perhaps there's something that we've come across to say, listen, maybe we should consider this as well because this team's working on it. Let's get you guys in the same room. Once we've reviewed and passed this along, we will then update the master operational plan. And then depending on the content or the necessary next steps, this is something that would then go for board approval. And if it's something to be communicated out, we would then get public relations to work on it, present a bit of a communication strategy, and then get this back out to the stakeholders, who then start the cycle all over again. So this ensures that we have a constant flow of information and communication and accountability across the map. Everybody's there to help each other, and we're all looking to achieve that end goal together. So with that said, and we'll give an opportunity to go through, ask questions if you guys want to go back and ask anything specific about this later on. So now, as to the method of collection, this is something that, and Eric can attest to this as well. We utilize this quite a bit in our time at Ontario Soccer, was regular and targeted surveying of our membership. Now, this was in all aspects of the word. We did it for events, we did it for charity drives, we did it for education sessions, even just for a meeting. If we had a stakeholder meeting where we were presenting information, we would survey them. How did you find the process went today? Did you get everything you were looking for? So this is an important bit that I find helps towards the growth. So a favorite quote of mine is, you can't grow in the status quo. And as we all know, if you continue operating in that capacity, we're not going anywhere. We're just in a read, rinse, repeat operation. We want to avoid that, because growth is, at the end of the day, the end game. So this survey data and strategy will then allow us to do is develop a database, a legacy, where we can look back and compare and track our success rate. How are we improving? Are there areas we need to address perhaps further? We can identify gaps. This is a big part. There may be areas that we feel we are providing adequate service, and yet certain regions or areas may say, listen, we're not getting that service right now, and here's why. This allows us to identify that. And of course, it brings added value, because at the end of the day, we're using this as a tool to improve the services to the stakeholders, which in turn will all come back as we looked at the cycle. The more we can provide service and value to them, the more we grow, and the more we grow, the more quality service and staff, etc. We can, the sky's the limit, and that's the whole kind of goal around this. So we've put together just a brief example schedule of something that would be perhaps a framework for the surveys over the course of a year. So committee members, very applicable, everybody's here. Let's say we're going to survey you on a monthly basis. We want to track your satisfaction. Is your voice being heard? Is the content being covered in an effective and efficient manner? What is your feedback on the process? Do you perhaps have any issues with how, your even the cycle that we showed? If you have some issues with how that's working, this is your opportunity to give that feedback and to allow us to look at it and say, okay, maybe we need to adjust this and perhaps switch this around. Operational planning. This is more towards the committee chairs. This is something that we would perhaps look at a quarterly basis to check up, make sure that we're on track with your initial goals at the beginning of the year. And then if there's timelines that need to be adjusted or items that need to be perhaps updated because of unforeseen circumstances, this is the opportunity to flag those items, and then obviously we'll update accordingly. This isn't to say that we won't be in constant communication throughout the process. At any point, feel free to reach out. We're here to support and assist in any capacity. Events, education, and testing. So coaches, athletes, and officials, this is regular. This is a very big part of what we provide on an almost regular basis to the membership. This is something that we want to do immediately following these sessions. We do this already for the most part, but this is a great opportunity to build on this further and perhaps identify areas we feel we need to improve on, and they may just be corroborating or providing confirmation of that fact. And then stakeholder checkup. This I find is, if not the most important piece here. 3 times annually, I put pre-AGM, mid-year, and post-AGM. This is a checkup with the clubs and the parents, or the athletes, depending on the age. This is our opportunity to hear from both the people that are paying us their fees and the people who are paying them, because we want to know how are things going right from the bottom up. Because if there's an issue there, let's address it, let's handle it, and let's determine, is that just a symptom of a larger issue, or is this actually an issue in itself? So this gives us a really good chance to make sure that year over year we're developing, and I'll show how we measure that momentarily. So recently we held the Level 1 officials course. I was lucky enough to participate in that. So my survey results are in here too, but Jen, I promise they were very positive. So we're just going to go in here and I'll show you what we did and how we reapplied the content received. So in the survey, those who took it would have noticed that the scale was generally from unsatisfied or very unsatisfied to very satisfied. It was a scale of about 5 top to bottom, 3 being the neutral point. So we've then converted this to a numbered scale in order to use quantitative results so that we can then turn that into a qualitative growth. We want to use this information to calculate what is their satisfaction rate, where were we perhaps not meeting our expectations as an organization. We used to use the general 4.0 was kind of our floor. If we fell below that, then that's cause for perhaps a second review, and let's identify what's going on. So let's pick one here. So the facilitator explained the webinar learning outcomes. So right now we had a nice juicy 4.86 satisfaction rating. So we're pretty close to perfect on that one. Nobody's perfect, but we got pretty close. This is of course based on a 60% respondent rate, because we just take the number of people that took the course and how many people responded in the survey. And from that, we can gauge that of those who cared enough to provide their feedback, or had the opportunity to, we had an overall satisfaction of about 94%, 4.71. At the end of the day, that's a success. Something like this, if any of these columns in particular had fallen below, that's when we would take that opportunity to perhaps explore that and blow that up a little bit to say, how can we adjust this and fix this? So taking this nice little 4.7 rating, and even this average rating across each of the content areas, it relates then back to what we would then collect it in a key performance indicator template. So this allows us to track the success of multiple events. This looks like a lot. I'm going to warn you, just focus on the yellow bit. As an example, I populated just with a few numbers. This is a format I've used in the past where we focus on our response rate. We look at the item. So what's the session that we are evaluating ourselves on? What was the timeline for those? And then of course, each of these columns here would then be populated with the relevant survey or feedback portion. We can then take that information, calculate our overall statistic for that time, that area or that course. And then over the course of the season or the year, we then get our yearly totals that bring our satisfaction rate up to X. See, from this data set that I pulled from my previous role, we had some areas here that were falling below the 4.0. So we put a lot more time and energy and resources into those areas to improve. We have then, of course, have an opportunity to compare this to our legacy. How are we doing from 2018 to 2019? And what's the variance? Where have we regressed? Where have we improved? and what areas perhaps that we have no change. What do we have to do better? So with all that to say, what does the future look like? Well, if we keep that legacy data up together and things consistent, and we keep accountable to everything that we're working on, and that we're trying our best to grow and track this progress across the course of the year, it should look pretty good. So all that to say, thank you very much for your time, everyone. It's really great to meet you, I guess, and I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you a little bit better.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. And I think Eric's probably going to pop in a little bit. That was incredible. And I really hope everyone can appreciate how much work has been done. How long have you been with us now, Matt?
Coming up on my 4th week, so about 3 weeks.
Awesome. Amazing. So this has been an incredible amount of work that you guys have put together. Someone that you've been referencing a lot is Rebecca, and I'm not sure that everybody in here has actually had an opportunity to meet her. You guys will in a second, but Rebecca Freeman has been with us for the past, I guess, since COVID hit, just before COVID hit. And just so that I'm not the one doing all of the social media and all the marketing, everything else like that, she's helping to run some of the social media channels, also the marketing, and helping alongside of Matt and the team with pulling together some of the graphics, as you guys saw from today. So that was an incredible presentation. There was a lot of information there. And I think that at this point, this is where we will probably end up trimming the record. But actually, no, we got lots of questions. I really want to give everyone a chance to meet each other. So Eric, did you have anything to add before we kind of break everybody out and then have everyone come back and ask Matt the questions that probably they have for him and for yourself?
No, the only thing I'd like to add is tying into that survey. And, we can, like, for example, just say events year over year, how can we know like where we're short or where there was a lack of experience? So being able to quantify it and then compare event, over event year over year, I think will help us tremendously on knowing where the gaps are and where we need to apply our efforts. And that goes across the board, not only events, but even the programs that we want to release, clinics. So it's across the board. I think that's a great piece of information that we'll use moving forward. It also assists on creating metrics for when you're doing our operational plans in the future. So I think that's overall, it's a key component to the plan and setting it up. So that's all I wanted to mention on that. Thank you.
There was
Awesome.
just one, sorry, Jen, just to add to one little bit that Eric said there, and related to the surveying, it does seem a lot at face value, and obviously one thing we want to avoid is fatigue. We don't want individuals getting tired of seeing it pop up in their inbox. But if we set that expectation at the beginning of the year, space it out enough that that they're looking forward to it, to getting that feedback in, we'll find that happy medium and make sure that we do that. We don't want to slam the membership with a weekly or something like that where they're just, please, enough. Like, I don't have time. But we'll make sure to space that out accordingly.
Awesome. From a show of hands here, how many of you guys have seen the strat plan or remember seeing the strat plan? Okay, so, oh yeah, there we go. A few hands missing. So after today, and Eric, I'll get you to help me out with this one, but we'll send out the strat plan as well, the deck that Matt put together. I think that would be actually really worth sharing. And I think it's really important that people have an opportunity to actually look it over as well. But before we do that, I really want to have a chance to play with the breakout rooms. I really enjoy this part of it. I think there's a lot of people who haven't met each other. So we're going to do rapid fire breakout rooms. If you haven't done this before, you'll get a 60-second warning when I'm pulling you guys back in. So there's I've got it, as I've got it set up right now, it's about 5 people per breakout room. So I think 2 minutes is enough for an opportunity for you guys to all briefly introduce yourselves. If there's anyone you haven't met yet, we'll just keep on kind of shooting you guys out there where I want to spend about 5 minutes doing this. Okay, so let's shoot you guys out there. Make sure you guys have a chance to meet everybody, and let's go to your room. But it seemed like it put everyone into a room that seemed to know each other. Hopefully people got a chance to meet each other, and some people who haven't met you yet. But I've made it so you guys can unmute yourselves, and Matt and Eric and myself, or any of the other board members, if you guys have any questions kind of regarding things before we kind of get you guys rolling with it, I figured why not do that? Or if there's somebody on here who hasn't met everybody yet, I don't know, Becca, if you want to say a couple words, you're more than welcome to chirp in here. No, it's me
Hi,
by myself.
everyone.
Cheers.
Nice to meet everyone. E-meet in these kind of weird times, doing a lot of e-meeting, but yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the team. I started in Feb, and it's super exciting to be part of a PSO and do cool things with all you guys. So it's an honor.
Awesome. And I think that one really big thing that we've got to kind of work on with all of our individual committees is letting them know how to properly tag Inboxing Ontario, even on stories. I think there's some social media gurus in here who are really good at that. And there's like this, what you'll see on Boxing Ontario, sometimes the same people get reshared and reshared over and over again because they know how to actually tag. So I think that that might be something to talk to each one of your committees about. And maybe Becca, next time there's a committee meeting for each one of your committees, we can maybe start, maybe this one, not today, but maybe the next time we get everyone together, we can show you guys a couple of really cool hacks to be able to share. So I think that's something that moving forward would be really helpful for us on the social media and media PR side of things. Mm-hmm. But that's awesome. Thanks so much, Becca. Anybody else have any questions kind of relating to today's session and any kind of questions moving forward as a general? I feel so alone.
Don't all ask at once. I guess we can use the raised hand function too, actually.
Yeah, you guys can all unmute yourselves now. I've made it so that you guys, yeah, if you want, you guys can use their, do you know how to use your raised hand function? I feel like not too many people have, I feel like you're so thorough, Matt, that people are just so well educated now.
There you go, Paul's on top of it.
I guess I have a question. Oh, sorry, Paul.
That's okay. I was just showing.
There you go.
He was just clapping and giving thumbs up. Go ahead.
In terms of us like meeting, how often are we all going to meet as a committee throughout the year? Or
So,
as a whole, excuse me.
Like all the committees. So
like this.
Like this. So I called this the annual one, but this is actually the very first time. And I have to say that like we should have done this at the very beginning. We really rushed when, I mean, it's only been a year that, just over a year that the board has taken place. And I think that this is one step that we missed that should be done. I would say at least twice a year. Matt, do you have a feeling on that, or Eric?
I would even say more than that. Even a quarterly checkup would be very beneficial. I think it would help us identify areas that are crossing over too. And from the board and the staff side, Eric and I can always put together a little update slide deck or something like that, just to kind of give you a quick overview of what's happened in the past little bit.
I think a quarterly meeting would be incredible. And now that I know how to use the breakout room feature, I can actually put all of the committees into individual. That one I know how to do much better. So maybe what we should do is every quarter, and we can set that. That actually was one of the pieces of today's meeting. After we let everybody go from the committee side of things, we would like to get you guys to start doing some of the like major planning, date planning. So if there's an opportunity to do that today, actually, I think that would be something that would be great. And I think that at the end of every quarter or at the beginning of every quarter, maybe would be the best time to do it. So I don't know. I know that was one of the things we had planned for the chairs. So does Sundays usually, I know that we're missing a couple of people, but yes, we are. Sorry, I got a message from Matt. We are going to ask all the chairs to stick around as soon as we release all the committee members. But does Sundays generally, not every Sunday, trust me, I don't want to see you guys every Sunday, as much as I love you guys. But does Sundays usually work for you guys? Yeah?
Can it be later?
Yeah, of course, Lee. I mean, I think later, how late, like 8 o'clock late?
Yes.
Yeah. Does 8 o'clock work for most of you guys? Thumbs up. Yeah. All right. So let's make every quarter, at the beginning of every quarter, maybe, I guess the next one would be the beginning of January. We'll talk about the timing in January. We probably wouldn't want to do it on the very first Sunday of January, because I know you guys are all gonna be having crazy parties this COVID year. But I would say that would be perfect. So we'll be keeping everybody around. I think if there's any other questions that the committee members have before we release the committee members, I'd love to hear from you guys, or Matt would as well.
Yeah, I actually have just a question from Sean here. Sean, I'll just answer for the group. It's a great question. Sean was asking about the SMART goal system and how that's helped in the past for setting up presentations for funding certain initiatives and to the stakeholders as well. Both in soccer and other areas, this was a very beneficial approach. It's a very kind of cross-border approach to everything. It kind of makes sure that what we're focusing on is well thought out, because I might find the graphic that I'm going to refer to in a moment and add this to the deck before sending it out. But without certain stages of planning, certain initiatives are always going to be bound to fail if certain steps aren't taken in the correct order. So the nice thing about embracing a method like the SMART planning is to make sure that we're hitting each of those areas. We're keeping our goal very specific. So that's a given. It has to be measurable. We need to know how we're going to, cover that success. So, and then obviously attainable. We can't reach for the stars. I mean, we want to. Our planning can be that, but in terms of achievement or something in a short term, it's very much something that we know we can attain. And then obviously related to that is the realism and then the timeliness of it. So using that across the board, we've seen, and Eric can probably speak to this as well, but both with delivering of events, partnerships, and branding, we had a whole department that utilized this kind of method and approach, and it very much translated to success in terms of funding and support initiatives and partnerships down the line. So yep, definitely something we can count on. I think just a good kind of template, a moral compass, so to speak, for our goal setting. I hope that answered your question, Sean. Sorry.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think before, if you guys dream up any other questions, that'd be really great. I think before we move on to the committee chair portion, we'll actually introduce everyone really quickly to the committee chairs that we have here right now. So since Tommy's right there, look at that support of Blue Jays. So Tommy Emerald is my co-chair for the Officials Commission, and we're just waiting for competitions to start back up, but I'll get you to give a quick little intro. Hi.
Hi, guys. Am I unmuted here? Yeah. Hi, guys. So like Jen said, I'm the co-chair of the Officials Commission. Quick update. What can I tell you? We've had 2 officials clinics this year. We did 2 officials refreshers. I think we're up to, it's 80 plus officials registered for this year. Just waiting on a few that just completed their level 1 test today to see if they pass. And
yeah, they all passed. So almost all of them passed. Almost all of them.
Yeah, and then next steps are creating our mentorship program, and also further some more training opportunities for officials via probably video right now. So that's pretty much what I have. Jen, is there anything you want to add to that?
No, there was 3. We had actually 3 refresher courses. We've been keeping people really busy. We're bringing things into a format actually where Boxing Canada is going to be very involved now. So the next step is their next refresher course will be through Boxing Canada. So it'll be open to all of Canada, even though it was before. Now it's officially going to be open to all of Canada. So very exciting to be aligning ourselves with our NSO. And that's definitely something that will help us kind of as we move forward and as we get back to competitions, and making sure that we're all, it doesn't matter what competition coaches go to or what competition the athlete goes to, they know what to expect. So that's going to be a big part of it. I'm trying to find all of the chairs here. I believe where's I'll get you to unmute yourself there if you guys are chairs. I'm trying to, oh, there's Jill. Sorry, I was going to introduce Jill Perry from the high performance chair.
Hi, I'm Jill, and hold on, am I unmuted?
Yep.
There I am. I'm Jill. I'm with the High Performance Committee. We have 5 big objectives this year. We've just redone the policy on upgrades, and the next town hall will roll that out to the organization. We have a whole new subset of international events that are geared to all different age groups from our junior C's, youth, and elites, male and female. So international opportunities for our advancing boxers. We have set up stuff for testing at the Ontario Sport Institute. And once we're able to advance that, we will. We are creating a gold medal profile at a provincial level to help people understand what they need to be if they're going to make it to the next step would be the national team. And the national team has a gold medal profile. So ours is kind of scoped down from that. That's still in development. And then we're just about to roll out a talent ID on how we as an organization identify boxers that have the potential to be national athletes or beyond, and to make sure that we're able to connect them with the right training and event experiences.
That's awesome. Well, couldn't ask for a more thorough introduction for what the High Performance Committee is up to. Amazing. Thank you so much, Jill. I'm going to bring it over just on that because we've got...
Sorry, Jen, I have a question.
Yeah, of course.
Are we going to find out who else is on the officials committee and high performance committee? Because I'm not exactly sure who's on all the committees, and maybe I know that, but I'd love to kind of understand who's all on all the committees.
Sure, actually, that's a really good, again, thanks. Anyone who can throw some help my way when it comes to running these, this is super weird doing it like this. So I guess on the officials, I will, we'll track back to the high performance in a second. So officials who we have here is Paul DeMello. So obviously you guys met Tommy Amaral, who's my co-chair. Paul DeMello, Tara Boimstruck, I'm finally pronouncing it correctly. We have, sorry, I'm like looking around the screen rather than trying to go by memory as well as looking around the screen. We also have two new subcommittee members, Olga Heron and Lila Simon, who are subcommittees of the Officials Commission. Val, who is not here today, Val Ryan, she's on our technical side of the commission. Sean Floyd, who, welcome, it's good to see you. It looks like you're in some kind of cave right now. All these backgrounds. So Sean's in a cave. He's been with us on the commission since the beginning of it as well. Tommy, help me out. Sorry, who am I forgetting? Because I'm looking around and I'm missing a couple of them.
We have Chris Fenn, who's also on the commission.
That's right.
Doyle McLeod, and I believe that's it.
Yeah, so we're just missing Chris Fenn. Sorry, I was using the screen rather than my memory. So Chris Fenn is the Eastern Director and Doyle McLeod is the Southwestern. And actually, Chris, you bring up a really good point. We were talking about this right before everyone joined into the meeting. We really need to make sure on our website, we have a new website, but there's a couple of things missing. So on our website needs to be a very clear, concise list of who's on our committees. So I'll get Jill, since this is the order in which we did it. Jill Perry, if you want to introduce your high performance committee.
Sure. On the high performance committee, we have Socrates Celestial, which you saw him with his new corporate COVID hairstyle. We have Armand Tedeschi from Atlas Boxing Club. We have Ray Morales from the Cabbagetown Boxing Club, and Kyle Millette is taking a break from the committee, but he was with the committee and helped us at the early part, but he's on hiatus right now.
We'll get him back as soon as competition's going back on again.
I hope so.
For sure.
May I ask a question, Jill, please?
Yes, Peter.
I'd like to know, what's the relation with the Ontario Test Institute? How it's going to work together? What's the format? Whose boxes that can be tested? What's the procedure? Do you have to pay, or a little more elaboration about this institute? How it's going to work with us?
Well, right now with the testing, Socrates and Horace went to view the site, and Socrates has been communicating with them about testing protocols that would work for us, and Socrates has also been communicating with Boxing Canada, so understanding their testing protocols and making sure that what we're doing sort of it's a building a pathway to so that they're not doing something totally different with us, and then when they go to Boxing Canada they do something totally different. So we're trying to build the pathway, and Socrates established the relationship with them. We have a quote that I believe the funding came in for, and we have 20 athletes that will go through testing, and they will receive follow-up and a follow-up educational process to help them understand what the testing means and how they can apply it. So with our Talent ID program, we're going to use that to help us identify those 20 athletes.
That means something similar to National Training Institute in Montreal.
Yes.
Very
yeah,
similar.
everything our committee does, we definitely have connections with Boxing Canada, and we're trying to make sure that our programs dovetail into theirs.
Yes.
Because I don't want athletes doing something totally different here, and then when they get to a national team opportunity, they're like, "What is this? This is not what I'm used to." It's really just building them. It's maybe not at the same level, but it's building them towards that level.
That's terrific. That's the cooperation between Ontario and the national body, because
So Socrates is the one that's leading the sort of the he's our liaison
between
between Boxing Ontario, Boxing Canada, and the testing center.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome, and it brings up a really good relationship, the same as what the Officials Commission is trying to do along the lines of with Boxing Canada. I think that's standardizing what the expectations are within the PSO to make sure that there's no surprises for our athletes, officials, or coaches when they get to the national, international level. So really good job on that, Jill. Amazing. So we'll quickly introduce the Sid Vanderpool, the coaches committee. Yeah, you're unmuted. You are.
All right. So let me introduce everyone on the coaches committee. We have the vice chair, which is Horace Hunter. We have the honorable and astute Peter Yanakurs, who you just heard there ask a question. We have Kelly Corcola, Natasha Spence, and Mark Mercier, all a part of the coaches committee. And really, our main goal is, the objective is to develop coaches that can help our boxers to medal and podium on the international stage. And again, we made it very clear at the very beginning that we want to make sure that our coaches are able to help our athletes not only just get to the national level, but also have enough experience and talent and coaching to make it do well on the international level. And so with that, to develop coaches, we need to keep coaches around. And so we saw that there were some coaches that would maybe be around for a couple of years and then be gone. And so we need to keep them more involved. And so we have three specific things we're working on. One which has been put on hold because of COVID, but it was sparring events, which would be like matched up sparring between fighters from all over Ontario, and also inviting coaches as well to be a part of those events. So we do 3 of them at 3 specific locations, kind of different locations within Ontario. And again, so that's for the fighters, but then also we, partner with the Female Development Committee, with the High Performance Committee, and have these events and allow coaches to also work with each other and mentor each other. So we have an opportunity for new coaches to start to meet other coaches that are more experienced and start to develop that relationship. And so we have 3 of those sparring events, and then we have 2 training camps. We're also responsible for developing the training camps. And so we were like, you know what, these things can have to be pre-planned. We don't know the boxers that are going to be attending these camps until, the provincials or whatever, but we can have the training camps in stone set up. And so we were working on, developing those camps, multi-day camps, and where there would be that sort of thing before COVID hit. So we put that on hold. And we started again. The other thing is coaching development. So running courses outside of the NCCP to help develop our coaches. One of which we just ran with the Myth of Strength training, and which was we had 20 coaches out, and we've got a few more planned, in the near future. So coaching development, and the last one is coach selection for tournaments and travel teams. So just making sure that we can help select the best coaches to help those athletes when they travel, but also keeping in mind that we also have opportunities to do coach development, and so providing opportunities for coach development where it makes sense, along with those tournaments and travel teams. So those are 3 areas that we're working on, and really making great progress. So just thank you to the coaching team for that.
Amazing. Awesome. So great. You guys are super prepared. I'm going to actually bring it over to Christina M. And I'm pronouncing your last name properly, Chris?
AM like PM, but AM.
AM. I love that. I love that. Like, sorry, I'm horrible.
That's the easiest way to remember it. It's like AM, PM, just the AM.
Awesome. You're a morning gal. Okay, perfect.
Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so I will introduce the Female Development Committee. I am Christina Am, the chair. I'm a coach. We run Girls Just Want to Box because we do. So we've got Lee Smith, who is our board liaison and the founder, I would say, of this development committee. She pushed for it, and I'm glad she did. Oh no, she said no, not me, of course. And then we've got Helene Jaffine, who's also a coach of my business partner. She's on the committee as well. Who else is here? Melinda's here, Melinda Watpool. Bonnie Hunter is not here. And Kevin Hurley, our one and only male on the team, representing for everyone. I don't know if he's still here or not. He kind of disappeared. Oh, there you are. Hi, Kevin's here. We're always like, yeah, this is, and Kevin. Yes, all the ladies on the team and Kevin. So he puts up with a lot. All right, so basically what it's kind of, the Female Development Committee has been developing itself over the time since we started. And kind of, we touch on all committees. We will work with all committees. We did the one roundtable chat with the coaching committee. I've been talking to Jill a lot about how we would work with the high performance. And we're really here to be a resource for the committees, sometimes to help things, look at different things or projects, maybe through the female lens, and they might not have looked at it that way. So I think that's one way we will be able to help and work with other committees. And just rounding up the female coaches or the female athletes, or getting them interested in helping clubs find ways to keep their, get new females in their club and then keep them there. So is that with creating a more inclusive environment? How do we do that? How do we help them? How can we help them with their marketing? So we do kind of touch on a lot of different spaces, and we're trying to figure out exactly how's the best way to do that, make it attainable, make it measurable, as we've been discussing today, and what that means. So more to come on that. And I think I remembered everybody, so that's good. And it's great to finally meet everybody and see everybody's faces for the most part. And I like the new organizational way this is all going.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And thanks for the reminder of doing this very important portion of what.
Yeah, no worries.
This is Fred. I'm not sure, Fred, are you allowed to speak where you are?
Yeah, I'm in my office. So
awesome. So besides being the secretary, you are also the chair of the COVID task force, KO COVID task force, and as well the finance committee, which I'll get you to introduce right now.
Yeah, so I won't say necessarily chair either of those. So from the COVID, Sid, first of all, put together an awesome group with, I don't know if people realized what this was going to get into. I think Sid's probably happy he didn't have to sit through and do all the stuff that we've had to do, because he's got his hands full, and I saw Aaron on here and they've got their hands full like most of you, trying to run their businesses. So I did see Matt Standish on here. Great resource for us too. I was always doing Matt S, but now we got Spine also, so that doesn't work. Gus also has been an ongoing resource, Amanda, and Richard also. So from the KO COVID, one of the big things that is still going out is trying to support all of us in every way. And I think just a reminder, if you haven't, especially, looking at Jen and Sock and all these people in the Toronto areas and everywhere saying how they're getting destroyed, please send your own letter or take the Boxing Ontario sample letter to your MPP, send it to Doug Ford directly, everything like that, because our area, Waterloo Region, was iffy as of late Thursday, Friday, that we would have been in gray, and that would have crippled Sid, Waterloo Regional, and a couple other clubs in this area too. I think we're all at a tipping point, where it is now. We're hearing the vaccines coming out. I don't think we'll see the vaccine really trickling down to anybody in this meeting until earliest, well, it sounds bad to say I probably would have an in because of my career, but the rest of you guys probably won't have an in with the vaccine until near March. And you won't see any normalcy getting back until then. So if we can, I never wanted to do this from boxing for the lobbying, but I think we have to pressure the government. And that's the one thing I learned through my career in the fire service with our unions is kind of raise trouble for the government. We saw it did work with the dance too. And then the finance, really committee-wise, we haven't had to do a ton because I've leveraged, or we've used Francois, our treasurer, amazingly, and bringing Eric in here too. So, you know, we've gone through that, and it's been an excellent resource having Francois, which is with his accounting background and all that in there. So I appreciate that. And then, you know, really going back to the rest of you all as committees, with the planning to think about asking for a budget. We want you all to come up with what your ideas are going to be, because if the finance committee and then the board just says, here's your budget, that might not function for you. So, you know, just glad to see you all here. And again, really thanks for investing in this organization, even in a sucky time for us all.
Awesome. Have I missed any committees? Sorry, I'm going off of memory right now. So again, everybody, we're all in this together. So if there's ever a miss, this is part of one of the things that I'm really hoping that we can accomplish over the next year. And we have really done a lot over COVID, is to unify everybody and make sure that we're all working on the same team, working together, catching each other's misses, because as you know, that we all miss, and making sure to have each other's back. And then in turn, making sure we have the memberships back, which is what this is all about. This is why we're all volunteering here. It's the major reason why we were able to get, you know, Eric back, because he knows from the inside how much, you know, each individual person's needed. And one of the things before I let the committee members go is that you are our eyes and our ears at ground level. I mean, luckily, most of the board is in some capacity ground level anyway, because of their operation side of things, or in some cases like myself and Sid, who own boxing gyms, we are pretty much, you know, seeing it from a member's perspective. But along the way, if you guys hear anything, see anything, can contribute and at least direct people back to who can make a difference, I think that's a major thing. That's the only thing I really want to accomplish right now. You know, over my next 2 years that I have as president of Boxing Ontario, the only thing that I really want to make sure of is that we have an incredible association to lean back on, and that I can fall back on myself as a member, and that we all can fall back on and make sure that supporting the membership. So if there's ever an opportunity where we can be those eyes and ears, and sometimes even the mouth, to try to help make sure that people feel supported, and that we as the board and we as the committees know what we can do to do better, I think that's going to be the next step in making sure that we have an incredible association that everyone wants to be a part of. And not just because, you know, KO COVID made us so popular with all of the gyms around, but also, you know, we keep those and we retain those people to show them how important this association is. So thank you all for being part of this, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. And
I'd like to have a question.
Yeah, Peter. Awesome.
Yeah, because I don't see you very often, it's very hard to communicate. With the permission of Mr. Sid, you know, I believe that the coaches, we have to do like referee judges. If it's possible now, Eric is back, and Mr. Matt, yourself, to give more refreshing courses to coaches, to upgrade the coaches, because that's your main, the working force. That's mean. It's nice
absolutely.
to make refreshing courses level 1, level 2, and level 3 for the coaches, like we do with the referee judges.
Yeah, that actually, you're right. Sorry to cut you off. I'm not sure if Sid has updated you guys, but the coaching committee is going to be part of that. So this is going to be something that you come to me as the chair, and Tommy as the chair of the.
With the permission of Sid, we already discussed about that in many meetings. And the courses we like to be specific in boxing. There are lots of general courses like periodization, and that's no value for the coaches. You have to be specific, like field periodization, for example, like they do at the national level, like Mr. Trepanier does with the national team. We have to do the same in Ontario. The coaches, they will know how to use periodization for the elite athletes. It's very important.
Yeah.
Now, that's your responsibility now. I'm going back to you, because you have to contact maybe the president of Canada and to ask him maybe to send Mr. Daniel Trepanier to give us a field periodization course, not general, exactly like he does in Quebec with the national team, with the help of the Institute.
Yep. So that
This
is exactly,
committee.
yeah, that's exactly what Jill's
You know,
working on right now with the high
lots of
performance.
courses, general is no value for us. We need something specific to improve our knowledge. General, all the coaches. That's, I mean, we talk for 7 months now with Sid, but now we're person to person, we can talk about that. Think about with your committee, think about that. We have to improve the coaches. That's your working class people.
So, Jill, did you want to contribute to this conversation? Oh, you just muted yourself.
I already talked to you.
So I know that Boxing Canada is working on doing some more direct coaching courses that are coaching specific to help enhance the coaching resources within the country. But that doesn't mean that we as a province can't do our own things.
Exactly.
Like if we identify a need, yeah, we can go ahead and I know with when myself or Socrates has spoken with Dan, he is willing to come in and run a seminar and stuff. We just have to tell him, we just need to make the ask. We need to book the time and book the session and he'll do it. Like he's even offered to have some of his, like, I think Sid, you've been coordinating with getting their sports scientists to do understanding how to do proper video analysis and a form that you would use to help create your training plan towards a specific bout against a specific opponent. So I think that one's already in the works. I think Sid's already coordinating that, but I know also Boxing Canada is working on something that will address training coaches outside of the NCCP curriculum.
Exactly.
But like I say, it doesn't preclude us from wanting to put on a course ourselves. Like we're always more than welcome to bring ideas, find resources, and to teach things.
Perfect. In the effort to make sure that, so I know we're already about 10 minutes over for the entire meeting. So I want to make sure, Peter, these are all things that so we're going to do another one of these meetings. We actually have to move on to the next portion of this meeting so that we can actually set that date. So Peter, all very, very important things. I think that you speak to something that has been, I think, plaguing the minds of all of the committee chairs to ensure that we're not just spinning our wheels, working really hard towards what Ontario can be. We're trying to work really hard towards what Ontario can be within Canada. And that can only happen with the alignment with Boxing Canada. So that is very, very important. And I think that through the coaching committee, Sid, yourself, and the rest of the committee will need to help direct us on specifically what is needed. And let's just make it happen. And that has been what we've been doing since, I think, at least all of us in this breakout room, in this one room, have been doing since we got here. So in the effort to try to let you guys have a bit of your Sunday, I think that the committee members, I'll get you guys to basically go and have a rest of your life. And then we're going to keep the chairs so that we can have the opportunity to make sure that we set at least the next meeting. And I would love to try to at least set a framework and timeline for what the next 3 meetings for the next, or next 4 meetings will look like for the year. And as well, just a couple other items that probably will be covered with the chairs. So unless there's anything further, and if there is, I actually will be sending out this record. So anyone who, yeah, so I'll see you guys hopefully actually we'll see you guys in about a month. Awesome.
Thanks again, everyone. That was great.
Francois, just from the financial, if you can stay just in case I do have to go also, please.
Awesome. So the rest of you guys are all free to go except for the committee chairs and board members. If we can
and Matt Standish, if you wanted to hang out too, that'd be great.
Yeah, Matt, you're not allowed to go anywhere. Miss you, buddy.
Sorry, guys.
Bye, Sean.
Bye, everyone else. Thanks so much.